Welcome, guys, to another episode of the Leadership to Wealth podcast. Our guest today is a transformational coach. He focuses on personal and organizational transformation. Now, for more than a decade, he's coached, trained thousands of people on topics like development, personal development, personal mastery, personal leadership, management, employee engagement, well-being, emotional and social intelligence, and communication and influence. And he's done this one-on-one, he's done this in groups, he's done this through online courses. He's trained, certified. He is also a member of the Academy for the Advancement of Human Values and an ambassador of the Humanity Awareness Initiative. He strives to raise people's awareness of themselves and of their role in the creation of a thriving world. Our guest today, Juan Campoo. So Juan, tell me, what exactly is a transformational coach?
Great question. And it's a good question because most people don't know this. And we all know that anyone can be a coach today. And there's thousands, if not millions of people calling themselves coach today.
Yeah.
And I guess the reason why I chose that name is because there's two sides of coaching. I mean, there's two types of coaches. The normal coach that you see, life coaches or ICF certified coaches, International Coaching Federation coaches, I consider those transactional coaches. That means that you as a coachee come into a session, you want a different result, you want some kind of change, and that coach leads you through an exploration of what you've done, what you haven't done, what you could do, and might go into some of the limiting beliefs that are stopping you from doing the things you want to do to make the changes out there that you want to make. And most of the times, that's enough to get things done out there. When you want to go to a transformational coach, you go to such a coach because you want to transform the mindset. You want to transform the deep-rooted beliefs that you have, the values that you've been bringing from your upbringing when you were growing up, right? The things your parents, society told you that is important that you should pursue, and also the definition of those values. And those very subconscious, deep definitions and beliefs basically dominate your life. They determine what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, how you react to people, how you feel on a daily basis, what triggers you, and what fears from the past dominate your reactions. And all the things we learn when we're growing up, they're great, and they help us survive and thrive until we're about 25, 30 years old, and suddenly we found ourselves in a new life, right? We grow up, we become adults, and we have more responsibility, or we open our own companies. So the level of complexity in life changes drastically, and it demands from us to basically not reinvent ourselves, but redefine ourselves. We cannot live in a world today that is different from the world where we learned those coping mechanisms when we were 6 or 10. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So this changing, complex world that we're living in, it requires us to update our belief systems, our value system, our identity or sense of identity, who I think I am, what is the world about, what do I stand for, how do I want to come across, how do I want to interact with other people. And that requires an inner transformation that is not superficial, it's deep. Yeah.
Okay, so transactional versus transformational is what I just got there, and it'll be interesting to sort of explore that a little bit.
Happy to.
The difference between that, because I'm curious to know a little bit about who is that for? Who should be looking for a transformational coach? I sort of know myself as transformation. I actually describe myself that way to people. I say, if you're going to be around me, just be aware that I know myself as transformation, and as a result, if we have this relationship, that this is what you're going to hear. You're going to be present to someone that's always focused on transforming my, not just my habits, but from the mind first, and so be prepared for that. And that may be a lot for some people, but who should be looking at a transformational coach? How do you point that out to someone? Hey, you should look into a transformational coach.
Yeah, I get it. So I also love this question because it's something that took me many years to figure out myself.
Yeah,
What made me different? What was my work? How's my work really differentiated from other people's work? And it all boils down to the following. Again, if you're a professional or a manager and you're doing well and you're happy, that's great. And then you get a normal coach for getting more, right? Money or results, doing things faster, better, all this kind of stuff, right?
right.
Which in this world of coaching, we call this horizontal growth. So you're
Okay.
the same person and you add more things to your toolbox and you add more things that allow you to do faster, better, more. That's
Mhm.
all great. But a small percentage of people, after some years of experience in their careers, they realize there has to be more to life than this. I was one of those. There
Mm.
has to be more. I'm unfulfilled. I'm earning more money than I need. I achieved the number I had in my mind. I have the house. I bought the car. I'm traveling to nice locations. I just went to Dubai or whatever. But why do I feel this void inside? Why am I not satisfied? And maybe you also finding yourself with these questions in your mind. Who am I? What am I here for in this world? What is the
Mhm.
meaning of all this? That is a telltale sign that you're ready. That your consciousness is opening up for a new level of consciousness, meaning that new values are opening up for yourself, like, again, meaning, purpose, contribution, service, collaboration, empathy, compassion, authenticity, openness, vulnerability, all these higher order values of humankind that open up for some people as you progress, as you continue to evolve. And when that happens, for the people that do, you realize that the redefinition of who you are and working and living from that new space is not possible with the things you've learned, the knowledge you have, the skills you have. They
Yes.
got you to a certain point. That's great. But you realize that they're creating more friction than anything else. You
Yeah.
realize that you have more conflict with people that you would like to, that you're not getting and attracting the kind of people you would like to attract in your life, that, again, you're not satisfied with what you're doing. You have this like inner calling to something needs to change, but you don't know why. That's how it
Mhm.
starts. So these questions
Mm.
play and play and play in your mind, and suddenly you want to do something. Normally, these people, they already done personal development 1, 2, 3, 5 years or more, maybe 20. But you realize that those normal personal development, the books, the podcast, they're not doing it for you. And that is when a transformation needs to happen. And that's
Mm.
when people come to me and I offer first, no, let's say, free consultation when the people take 2 or 3 assessments up front that they can measure their minds, they can measure their consciousness, and all these kinds of stuff. And in that call, we go through and I do a summary of their lives, their past, the present, and the future, and everything comes into with so much clarity. The psychological development, why you suffer what you suffer, why you have what you have, where are you going with your life? It all becomes clear for the person, and the person can make a choice.
Mhm.
Is it worth it for me? Is this the moment? Is this the right person? And then if the person dares to step into this transformational journey, that's when magic happens. Normally, I'm going to take you now to the other side of the equation. When
Okay.
the people are in the middle of a journey of transformation or at the end of it, they always say the same things. I thought I was happy. I thought I knew what peace or power was. I had no idea.
Mm.
This is true power. And it has nothing to do with how loud you speak, how much you can. It's that inner silence, that inner balance. Nothing moves you. No matter if you come right now and you say, Juan, you know what? I find you arrogant. You're a bad trainer. You're a bad coach. Whatever you can say to me. It is that wisdom that allows me to say, thank you for sharing your opinion with me. There's no movement inside. And maybe we might even explore that for a moment. But my emotions are untouched. That inner power has no comparison. And then you go from the pursuit of happiness, for example, that's another symptom, to the pursuit of joy and inner peace. Being
Yeah.
happiness, an emotion that is intense and has like a peak, and then you
Yeah.
crave more, like sugar or coffee or heroin. But instead of that, you look for more sustainable feeling, such as joy. That is
Yeah.
a natural consequence of pursuing meaning in life.
Yeah.
And that
I heard
requires,
a
yeah.
I heard a great description about happiness as sort of joy in motion. um because happiness is often based on what happens to you, but uh joy and peace are that's what you are. And someone who's joyful or peaceful can automatically convert that into happiness. They can automatically contemplate something they're grateful for, or
Oh yeah.
look at their life, and they're immediately happy in that moment just by doing that, as opposed to oftentimes we're always looking to be happy, and so you're looking for the next thing, the next thing, the next thing that can make you happy. Meanwhile, in
Mm.
between, there's just this sense, this feeling of I'm not happy right now. Is something like that?
It is something like that. I never heard it that
Yeah.
way, but yeah, you're
Yeah.
touching upon the right things, I think.
Yeah.
What I would add to what you said is the following. If you're looking for something, then you're not content. So the
Okay.
pursuit of happiness is a symptom of a void that you have inside.
Mm.
If you would be content, you would experience joy and happiness, regardless of what
Mm.
happens out there. You would not be striving for
Mm.
anything.
Well, can you be? Is it possible to be content, to be joyful, to be peaceful, to have peace, and still strive for something?
Oh, definitely. The
Okay.
thing that you strive for, and this is the point, changes. It's not what normal people normally are focusing on.
Okay.
Career, more money, more power, a better car, more recognition, all those things stop being so
Yeah.
important.
Yes.
Stop being so important because you
Yes.
realize that, yeah, I mean, you get them. The moment you get them, you get this rush called happiness, and suddenly, and now what? The next recognition, the next praise from my boss, the next big project, or whatever it is. It's like coffee
Yeah.
again. You get a rush, and then you need a second one, right? Um, the kind of
As I drink a cup of coffee.
as you drink a cup of coffee, exactly. I'm not saying anything wrong about coffee. I love my coffee, but
This interview's
imagine
ended right now. Juan's, trashing my coffee.
just imagine if you wouldn't need coffee at all. If actually
Yeah.
it's like a complete conscious choice. But then again, it is not a good comparison because of course coffee is
Yeah.
still a
Yeah. Yeah.
choice that you make. It's not a
Yeah.
drug. But well, people say it is a drug, but that's not the point. Um, so the things you start really striving for kind of change when
Yeah.
you do these kinds of transformation. Either so you enter the transformation because you have these new longings that you don't know how to explain, how to get, or you just want something new in your life. You go through this transformational process because you've heard others doing it, and then you realize that these new strivings appear. Again, the search for
Yeah.
meaning, authenticity, true
Yeah.
self-expression, being the authentic you, not wanting to be the best version of yourself, which is normal, what drives people for coaching, transactional coaching, but wanting to be the true self, your authentic you.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the best version of myself. I want to be the real me, right?
I,
I
I
want to
I
say
love
what
when I love when I hear people say that they're trying to be the best version of themselves, and I think to myself, "You're we're gonna die, at the best version of yourself." For starters, we don't know exactly what that looks like, um, and but when someone says it, I think you have this idea of what the best version of yourself is, and it's probably far below what the best version of you is, right?
And,
We always
and
have
it
this
all,
idea, right? Like with the taste
yes,
of what we
yes.
think it is.
Mm.
And oftentimes I think it has more to do with Instagram and social media
Yeah,
than it does
most of the time it
with
does.
looking inwardly.
Mm. Most of the time, I think you're spot on. And look, so if this was a coaching session, right? Someone comes to me and says,
Yeah.
"I want to be the best version of myself." I would ask two questions. First of all, define best,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you would hear a pause of 1 minute and something like and see
Yeah.
smoke coming out of the minds. And they're basically what they do in their minds, and I show them, they go and compare with all the magazines they've read, all the perfect six packs they've seen in Health magazine, right? Men's Health, all the car they would like to have, right? How they would like
Yes.
to speak with confidence and all this,
Yes.
just because it looks great. And people say that's what you need to strive for. That's when I told you, right? That's why I told you that we have these preconceptions of what is success? What should you long for?
Mhm.
Getting rid of that, being free from that tendency to strive for those things is what leads to sustainable, long term inner peace and fulfillment.
Mm.
So, suddenly, it is about redefining what, I mean, success and wealth are not bad things. It's just how you define
Yeah.
them. And do you
Yeah.
define them? That's the second question. Who is defining what is the best version of yourself? Right?
Yes.
So, if you cannot define it, it's because, because someone put it in your mind and it's a subconscious thing, belief driving your actions and your choices.
Yeah.
I propose we get free from that. And you say, you know what? Actually, I was actually in a coaching session today with a CEO of a startup, and we were discussing his relationship with money. He has all this stuff. He experienced FOMO, right? The fear of missing out. And he wants to get
Yeah.
into crypto. He wants to do all this stuff. He experiences fear every time he realizes I might be missing a train on something new, on a tendency, on a trend. And so we were talking about his definition of money and his relationship with money. And I would like to share what I also shared with him when I redefine money for myself. And I said, actually, I have it written down right here. Maybe it's a good thing that I read it. But it was like a prayer. It was 2015. It was like a prayer that I wrote for myself, or a mantra, right? But it's basically saying, let money be the result of meaningful conversations that I have with people, where exchange of value that really is needed manifests.
Mhm.
That's it. Money is energy.
Mhm.
That's how I choose to
Yeah.
see money. And
Yeah.
it's something, is the physical manifestation of someone saying, I have a need in my life. And you know what? This conversation has touched me and I think you can help me. And
Yeah.
therefore, ka-ching, here it is. It's just an exchange of energy. It frees you from the need to sell and prospect and do all this horrible marketing and sales stuff that if you look at the words that sales and marketing are using, you'd realize how awful it is. It's all enemy oriented, it's separation oriented, it's military terms, tripwire for someone to buy an upsell, tripwire. So
Mm.
you want something to, to trip on a wire you put on purpose, or they fall and you get the prey. It's awful,
Yeah.
right? Uh, Sales, hunting for leads, hunting. How about scouting? I want to redefine sales for myself. So I fell in love with sales. I want to scout. So when I scout, I don't go with a gun trying to get you, right, and make you trip so that I can eat you. I want to have meaningful conversation, explore together with you, and leave nature, or leave the space that we used better than it was before we came in.
Mm.
So I choose to scout, right? Like a
Mm.
Boy Scout, like
Yeah.
an explorer, instead of
Yes.
awful things. So we need to redefine our wordings, our beliefs, our values, so that it's true aligned with who we really are, what we want to stand for, and actually what the world needs us to start doing. Because the condition of the world today, all the problems the world has, is because of the lack of this transformation. We keep going for materialism, for more, more, faster, more, 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 not caring about the consequences of our choices, our actions, and our lifestyles. And when we do this transformation, we become better human beings. And the world, it becomes better because of that. We make more conscious choices, right? that care about others, not just our needs, but also the needs of others.
Hmm.
And also we tap into deep, sustainable joy and contentment and peace. So it's a win-win-win, I would say.
Yeah. A lot of people would actually say that joy and peace sound boring, especially nowadays. And I think it's oftentimes not till, perhaps a little bit later in life that you start realizing the real value of peace and joy, right? It's not until you've gone through and chased the
Yeah.
happiness, you've chased all
Yes.
the FOMO and realized
Yeah.
the emptiness of it, that then you turn around and go,
Mm.
you know what? I would just like a break. I just like some peace. I'd love to look in the mirror and be happy with who I see when I look into the mirror.
Exactly,
Yeah.
because you came from the office that day. When you look at that mirror, and that day you actually said yes to a project that you were screaming inside to say no to, but you said
Mhm.
it because you're afraid of your boss's opinion or your financial stability, right? And then you hate yourself because of that. That's not
Mhm.
sustainable. That you can pull that off when you're 20, 25, but there comes a point when your psychology will not allow you to do that anymore without falling into a depression
Yeah.
or a burnout, right?
Yeah.
So there's as we grow old, exactly like you say, we have less vital energy. Right? We can not tolerate things that we used to tolerate when we were 20, 18, 25. And
Yeah.
suddenly we say we need to start making decisions. My body, my mind is not the same as it was when I was 18, 15, 25, 30. Therefore, you need to reprogram yourself. You need to transform, redefine your principles, what you stand for, your values. This is personal leadership.
Mhm.
Where am I? Where am I
Yeah.
going? What is the north? What is the contribution I want to make to the world? What am I going to start saying no to? What do I want to stop tolerating? What are the limits that people cannot go through to protect myself and also protect the people I love, protect the world? And so you're right. People, we need to go through certain stages of life before we realize, you know what, it's enough.
Yeah.
Things that were driving me up to now, they served me, but they don't serve me anymore. And if you feel that, that's the moment where you're ready for a transformation. And what
Yeah.
happens after is, imagine the release of fear, the release of musts and shoulds. And it's just
Yeah.
like, synchronicity and providence and, flow starts happening when you tap into that authenticity. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Okay. So one, I think that people oftentimes, from when they're young, even from teenage years, you start to have these moments where you're questioning, where it's like a knock at the door that's calling for a
Yeah.
new you to appear.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this happens at different points. But what we tend to do when we're younger is uh, we don't like uncertainty, so we just kind of put that into a box, and then it
Yes.
happens again when we're 21, and we put that into a box, and then at 25, and it happens multiple times, and oftentimes around uncertainty in our life, where we're at is challenged, and we realize we don't have the answer at that point. And 9 times out of 10, what we come up with is, I just need to work harder,
Yeah.
or
Exactly.
I need more me time, or I need a vacation, or these kind of things. And and then we sort of cover it over, and it's not until later on when we realize that covering it over doesn't work, that we really get to a point where we realize something needs to change, or we come up with something elaborate, like this is
Mm.
just how life is and it'll never be different.
Yeah, definitely. And again, it comes down to what I said before, that you can keep up not listening, right, to that inner
Yes.
voice, to those prompts, maybe from the
Yeah.
soul, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
from within or from without. There's a point where listening or not listen. Sorry, there's a point where not listening is not acceptable anymore.
Mm.
The pain is too high.
Yeah.
So the cost of not changing is bigger
Yes.
than the benefits of staying of that comfort zone you mentioned,
Yes.
right?
Okay, so let me ask this question, because you mentioned about money. Why is it that so many people have some sort of disconnect when it comes to around money? Why is there always seem to be a like they you've got someone who's doing the startups, people that are creating businesses, or they're trying to make more income, but there's just some sort of hang up there. Why does that tend to be so apparent in the area of money?
It's a good question, and it comes down to, again, growing up. Uh,
Mm,
Everything we do, these people you just mentioned, but everything we do is driven by this mindset that we developed when we were growing up.
yeah.
The relationship with money, of course, is influenced through our whole youth, what we see from our parents, how they see money, how they think about money, the beliefs we have about, is there enough money in the world? Do I deserve money? How
Mm,
much is enough money? All those ideas and beliefs are formed when we were growing up. So now those beliefs can be functional or dysfunctional, can be self-empowering or self-limiting. For example, my oldest brother, he is, according to a lot of people, rich. According to international definitions of, or comparatively, is
yes.
he's rich.
Comparatively is the word.
We're in a conversation. We always have these fights, right, with him, and he's very dominant, very arrogant, and I was exactly like him. I just chose to change certain things about myself. I went through a transformation. He didn't. He grows. I transformed. Right. In this one last conversation that we had, he said, "You should be doing this. You should be doing that in your business, in your life." And I said, "Where is it written? Show me that I should." What you're really saying is you would like me to. You think it would be better for me. And I believe that you believe that. And I don't believe that. I choose to believe something else.
Yes.
I have enough. And he says, "But oh, you don't know what real wealth is, what success is," he said.
Hmm.
And I said, "What you're saying is that we don't share the same definition of success. My
Right.
friend, to my standards, I am very successful,
Yes.
because you define success by a number or by how many, he has a plane, he had a yacht. It's like, forget about it. I couldn't live knowing that I have to pay, I don't know how many tens of thousands of euros per month or per year to maintain that plane or the yacht. Otherwise, it gets corroded. Or that's not my lifestyle. It's yours. Great for you.
Yeah.
But for me, success is being healthy, feeling great every day, not having stress, sleeping at night with
Hmm.
no stress, being loved and loving people, making a difference in people's lives.
Yes.
If every day I'm making some kind of difference in someone, like maybe right now, for example, someone listening to this and being inspired to challenge their own thinking, I am very successful. If
Mm,
I have enough money to put food in the table and to go on vacation in a minimum amount of days per year to a place that I want to go, I don't need more than that. I'm content. I am very successful to my new redefined authentic standards. His
mhm,
definition was put in his mind, just like it was before I changed. It was also in my mind, put there because of our father. Our father had deep fears about money, and it was never enough, to the point that he would actually scam people. He scammed me, scammed my mother, scammed a lot of people, business partners, clients. It was all about him getting more and more money. It was
mhm.
disastrous what he was doing. Very toxic, unacceptable. Okay.
Yeah.
My brother never said, "I want to redefine my relationship with money." I did. The difference is now he has all this stuff. Externally, people say, "Wow, he's amazing." Okay. But I also know the consequences of that. I
Yeah.
know that I don't want to experience those consequences. It's not paid off by the extra money and the extra perks. That's for me,
Yeah.
for me. And doing
Can
that
can I
for
just ask you a quick
us.
question about that? Just make sure I don't forget it. Having that modeled for you, Did you did you did you notice that perhaps, or did you partake in doing that at one point in your life and then seeing that you wanted to change that and change your relationship that way? Or did you see what your dad did and was doing and think,
Mm.
I'm never going to do that? Which sort of path did you come down?
It's
Did you
both.
ever get into trouble?
Is both.
Yeah.
Not trouble, not
Yes.
trouble,
Yeah.
because so on the first hand, I see the things he was doing and the consequences of that, legal, judicial, really,
Yeah.
but also how he made people feel, right?
Yeah.
Clients, suppliers. So very early, I made a choice. I'm not going to do that, okay? Because I also had my mother, and my mother is an angel. And so I had enough consciousness to kind of think, wow, I don't want to do that to people. Why would you,
Yes.
like, how can you afford or accept to get money but have that negative consequence, that collateral effect? Sorry, that's not me. So I had enough self-awareness to make a choice back there. He also did things to me money wise, and he did other things to me as well, but when it comes to money, he stole, for example, a scholarship and a credit that I got from my university and the government to represent my university in Europe and travel for a year. And he stole all that money from me, right? And so I couldn't go to the trip. The university, we had a big problem. So he did things
Yeah.
also to me that I said, like, one thing's for sure, I'm not going to do this to anyone because I know how it feels. So that's one part of
How,
the
how,
story.
how did it feel when he did that?
Betrayal. How can
Yeah.
how can anyone do that to another human being? First of all,
Yeah.
at that time, I didn't have the knowledge, the psychological knowledge to understand why someone would do that. Which behind it was a positive intention. Like any behavior of any human being, behind any action, there's always a positive intention. It's just that the
Mhm.
person doesn't have the consciousness to see and to care about the ramifications of their actions. Right? They don't see it, or they see it but they don't care. That shows the quality of the consciousness of that person, the psychological development of that person. So my father was an old man, but he was a child with a lot of fears inside. He was trying to get his needs met,
Mhm.
mostly money, okay? Because their parents had a lot of financial issues when he was young, so he thought you always have to have more and more and more, regardless of the consequences. So I
Yeah.
felt, oh, wow, that the fact that a human being would do that to anyone else is unbelievable. The fact that my father would do that, it's is tremendous. So I felt betrayed. At the same time, I was into personal development, personal growth, right, and transactional coaching and this stuff as a young professional myself, to kind of say, you know what, I made a choice here. I'm not going to be this, but also I choose not to suffer from this. I choose to believe he's a hurt man, right? He has psychological problems, and that's it. It's not personal. That's what I chose.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
why I did not suffer. Uh, how do you say that? Lucky me, it was not a deep, hurt.
Right.
And so I moved on to life. But then what happened is that even though I thought I made a conscious decision and I was free from that, those beliefs and those behaviors would manifest through my behavior in different situations. Mildly, I
Oh,
was not
okay.
scamming people. I was not scamming people, but
Yes.
for example, if I would be with a girlfriend and we would go to dinner, and even though we're months and months together, I would be incredibly stingy, and I would not tolerate paying for something. It's half and half,
Oh, don't say stingy is a problem. Oh man. I mean Stindian by culture. Okay, okay. All right, go ahead. Go
right?
ahead.
I mean, we can go deep on that, and it's nuanced, of course. It can be
Yes.
nuanced.
Yes.
However, like, let's say I really want to go out with a girl, and she says because in Latin America they would expect the man to pay, right, to kind of conquer them or whatever, and I wouldn't take it. I said no, no, this is done. Bye. It would be maybe the most amazing, gorgeous, incredible woman in the world, and I would say hell no, no, because you're touching my wallet. Hell
Yes.
no. Or I would need a guarantee that she would pay the next one to kind of balance it out, right?
Okay.
Um, and I realized that it was actually quite, I didn't like it. I didn't like it for me that I was doing that. Um, the fact that I was married with my wife already for 6 years, and I still wouldn't agree to her proposition of having a joint account where, and that her money and my money are the same, even though I was earning more, is terrible. My feelings of, I was my father possessing me, saying hell no,
Yeah.
right? And
You're not getting my money.
you're not getting my money, baby. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I didn't like that. And I
Yeah.
said, you know what? Um, she is the mother of my child. She is the woman I chose to spend the rest of my life with. And I also see the effect it's having on her. By me not going 50-50, which the law says that we should, because I signed the contract, right? I I said yes, and the law, I need to abide by the law. So why does this fear from the past, from my father, keep dominating my everyday feelings and reactions, my lack of trust, right? What if I am free from that? Who do I become? How would I act? Now the consequence is this: is I choose to trust that we're going to be the whole lives together. If not, prove me wrong, right?
Yeah.
I choose to trust we're going to be our whole lives together, and this will never be a problem. Second of all, I don't want to be I don't want to be the one making her feel, right, that I don't trust her, and that money is more important than our relationship. I see what it does with her self-esteem, with her trust in this that we have, and I don't like that. So I choose to put on higher priority the following value instead of money: the value of trust, the value of generosity, the value of integrity. I signed the contract. If I didn't want that, I should have said no, and she might have not married me if it was that important for her, right? But I said yes. So integrity is also more important than money.
Mhm.
And by realizing that and reflecting on those things, I made a hard choice to let go of my dad and his belief system and my fears. I said, I choose to trust, be generous, and go full on with you, my dear. And
Wow.
that created and unlocked so much love, so much mutual respect, new projects. We went all in on crypto together. That it untapped so many things that I would have never done by myself, right? Uh, so yeah, I mean, the rest of your life is waiting on the other side of fear. And the only question is, do you take enough time, like you said, to reflect and ask yourself these questions? What if I would? What is the worst that could happen? What is the best that could happen? Who would I become if I would become free from that?
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
And all these questions are transformational because it opens up a new area of your life that you never, right? It's actually creativity, it's self leadership towards the
Yeah.
future instead of making decisions because of the things that are programmed in your brain from the past. That's not freedom.
So how does someone, you know, kind of identify this stuff if they're not sure? How do they what did you use? Do you have any recommendations on how people can
Mm.
sort of identify if they've got I don't know what's the term, some sort of limiting belief in the area
Oh
of
yeah.
money or in that.
Oh
What
yeah.
what do you recommend?
Oh yeah. One thing I put together is a resource that anyone can take for free. Right. I have a
Okay.
bunch of free resources. Is this maybe the right time to talk about that?
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, tell us.
Brilliant.
Hey, you
So,
said the magic word, free. Let's go.
right. Ah, I see you have
See,
limiting beliefs about money. You like it. It's
see
free.
it just it just comes to you when you've got, you actually mentioned another word earlier. You talked about you chose to be generous,
Yeah.
and in that there's something free about that, freeing in that, and so it's
Mm.
always funny to me that when you take on that type of being, uh, being generous, it's amazing how free shows up as opposed to hard. I hear people talking about, oh, it's hard to make money, it's hard to this, it's hard to that. And then I say to
Right.
them, isn't it funny that your life is hard? It's it permeates all of these areas. And so
It really
you
does.
know,
I think
right?
you're touching on an amazing, very interesting point that everyone should reflect on this. It's hard to make money, they say that, because look at what they're focusing on: making money.
Mhm.
If they would do what I did and redefine the relationship with money, I'm not trying to make money. I don't even think about money, or I try not to. Most of the times I succeed, right? To be completely honest. Uh, but if I see that money is just like, it's like, okay, I, oh, I want to open the tap. I want to open the tap in the kitchen. No, you open the tap because you want the water.
Mm,
You don't go thinking I'm going to open the tap 3/4 of a turn. No, 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 no. You're going for the water. Opening the tap is just something you need to do to get there,
yes.
to fulfill a human need. There's no shame in that.
Yeah.
So if I'm thinking about, wow, it's making money, of course it's going to be hard because you're not focusing on who you should be focusing on, the person who decides to give you the money,
Yes.
the human being on the other
Yeah.
side,
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
When you make
Absolutely.
that shift, and I did it because it was not that long ago. It was just a couple of years ago that I started to and make these shifts and to try to play with generosity. It's a new value of mine, generosity. Only 1 year
Mhm.
old. My relationship with money, some years old, but most of my life I didn't have that. Then clients would not trust me. Clients would say, wow, you're self-oriented. Clients would say no a lot. The conversion rates in sales would be very low, whatever I was doing in sales, right? In any job that I had or company that I had. But the moment you redefine this and you really focus on the other one, not on you, the pressure is off. The pressure is off, and you start enjoying yourself more, and you really connect with people and you care. Then people naturally trust someone who listens and who asks open questions with interest and who cares about their pain or what they're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
And then they say, you know what, I trust you. So if and it seems like you have kind of like something that could help me, even if it doesn't completely, trust is more important. And they choose to give you money. And
And
money
they
is just
choose to give you
energy.
money.
And
Yeah.
money is just energy. It's just a paper
Yeah.
that says, you know what? I trust that you can help me. That's all it is.
Yeah.
So going back to the free stuff that we were talking about,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, right? It's free because it's part of my mission. My mission is to lift humanity's consciousness, to
Yeah.
eradicate unnecessary suffering, and help a thriving and create a thriving world, like you said in the
Yeah.
introduction of this podcast.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
truly believe that the world needs us and deserves us to step into a higher level of consciousness, start
Yeah.
serving more, and be better human beings. And when that happens, the world is going to benefit from that. And for that to happen, people like me, people like you, we need to start giving value, adding value, right? That's why you're
Yes.
doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And um, a lot of this stuff can be for free, and I think it should be for free,
Yeah.
right? And then if people
Yeah.
after that they choose to engage and to maybe consider something else, great, great.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to stop some people from suffering or not getting the answers to a human question, to a human need,
Yeah.
because I want to make some money, right? So in that spirit, so
Yeah.
maybe let me start with this first. So what people we haven't touched upon, but what I actually I'm doing in the last years is I wrote this Amazon #1 bestseller, Mind
Oh,
Canvas. Yeah,
yeah.
it's actually the book describing the model called the Mind Canvas model for personal mastery. Okay, this is basically my one of my gifts, my legacies, let's say, my gifts to humanity. It is
Yeah.
basically a model that I created called the Mind Canvas that you can see here. Let's see if that looks good. Do you see it?
Okay. Yes. Yep.
That one image simplifies psychology and makes it visual, intuitive, and accessible to anyone to take control
Yeah.
of their minds, their suffering, their thriving. It's all in one image. And
Yeah.
that's my legacy. So I wrote this book to explain this model and to give the transformation that I give to my clients to anyone,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
then the ebook is like $10 or euros or something like that on
Oh, wow.
Amazon.
Yeah.
Find it, right? So probably we could share the links later, right, in the description,
Yes.
probably.
Yep.
There's the book, but if you don't even want to buy the book, there's a free download for the first chapters of the book, right?
Okay.
There's a
So you get
free,
to read it for
you get
free if and decide. Yeah.
exactly. And
Okay.
inside those free chapters already, but also in the link we're going to share with them, there's a free assessment, the Mind
Okay.
Resourcefulness Assessment. If you
Okay.
take it, it's about 15 minutes, 20 minutes max. You fill it in, and it gives you in about a minute in your inbox a free report, 13 pages, I think it is, with all the most common conscious and unconscious patterns that limit our well being, that limit our potential, right? thinks about money, thinks about safety, thinks about belonging, fears about self-esteem and how good you think you are, or you know, you name it. Is a ton of different blind spots of the mind that create suffering and that limit people.
Yeah.
So you're going to know exactly how you're using your mind canvas, what's
Yeah.
limiting you, what's empowering you that you could leverage. But
Yeah.
also at the end, in the annex 2, people have all the answers they wrote, and whether that answer is resourceful or unresourceful, why, with this explainer video. So there's
Yeah.
already a ton of value there for them to get these insights you're talking about. And at
Well,
the end, so go ahead,
oh,
go ahead.
wait 1 second. I was gonna say, guys, if you're
Yeah.
listening, take 15, 20 minutes,
Yeah.
download the assessment, the free. I'm East Indian. We love this one. You get it for free. Free. Two, two for free. So go ahead, download it, and take the assessment. Just see what comes
Yeah.
out of it. See what arises for you, because we're really on this journey of shortening the learning curve to building wealth. And so take a moment to see
Yeah.
what things show up, and if everything is fantastic and beautiful and you're right, you're right exactly where you want to be, then that's great. And you might be able to see some areas that you want to transform. So take a moment to go ahead and do that.
And you say it's free. Is it really free? I mean, you do have to invest 20 minutes of your time and make a conscious
Yes.
choice to answer those
Yes.
questions honestly.
You
Okay.
know what I would say, it's not even so much about the time, it's about the attention. There
Exactly.
Right, there are these things in life that we might blame it on, I don't know if I have the time, but if you really look at it, it's, can you give it your attention?
Oh, yeah.
Is it important enough to you to give it your
Exactly.
attention? Which is why I hate the word busy. I hate someone asks me if I'm busy. I turn it into a sermon. The moment you say the word busy, I'm like, I I hate saying the word busy,
Mm.
because if you said you had $1 million for me, I wouldn't be too busy, right?
Exactly.
All of a sudden, I'm not busy at all, right? So
Exactly.
I, I clear that up and just realize what is important to you and what do you need to give your
And,
attention to. And
and
if
look,
transforming your life is important, then maybe give some attention to that assessment tool. All right,
totally.
sorry.
And what you're saying is exactly what we were saying before.
Yeah,
Because if you cannot give 20 minutes of quality of your attention to this,
yeah.
then it shows what you're valuing. So more than
Mm,
transfer your well-being, more than your personal development, more than your sustainable well-being and joy and whatever you want to call
yes,
it, you're
yes,
valuing more the TikToks you're going to look in your phone, or the going to the gym for those 20 minutes to do some lifts, right? Lift some weights and get more pecs because you want girls to say wow and guys to say man you're so right. So then it's a choice you made, but are you
yes,
conscious of the consequence? Is your fear that your belief that you're not good enough as you are driving that choice to make those
yeah,
pull-ups instead of reading that book or making that assessment? Just be conscious that something is driving you. Now, are you driven or are you driving your life? People
mm,
say, oh yeah, I'm a driven person, I'm a driven person. I'm not impressed if you say that. I was a driven person as well. But when you're driven, it means that you're not in the driver's seat. Someone is driving that car for you.
mm,
And who is that? The beliefs and the fears of the past
right,
about you not having enough money, you not being good enough as you are, not being beautiful enough, not being worthy of love, not belonging. Those beliefs that you got from your parents and from society are
yeah,
influencing your choices right now. You're being driven. How about we change? We go out of the car, we turn around, we sit behind that wheel, the driving wheel, steering wheel, and you take control and you become driver. You become the conscious
yeah,
leader of your life. But for that, you need to sit down and say, what am I done tolerating? What doesn't serve you
yeah,
anymore?
yeah,
And what does, right? Who do I want to become? Or what is the true, authentic me that is trying to manifest here? And this kind of assessments are amazing tools that give you that moment to reflect. And then you get these reports that give you sometimes harsh feedback. But if it's harsh, it's because you needed it.
yeah,
If you don't need it, it's not going to be harsh. It's going to be interesting. But if it's hard,
yeah.
the harsher it is, the more you needed it. That's a slap in the face that you need.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And if you don't like the word report, you can call it feedback. You can call it you can call it positive reassurance. You
Exactly.
you said report, and I thought, oh my goodness, not
Mhm.
another report.
Oh, exactly. No, no, a amazing bunch of self-awareness and inspiration.
There you
Let's call
go.
it that. I
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
your thought process, right? And then so you get this amazing bunch of inspiration and
Yeah.
awareness and potential for transformation. And
Yeah.
then at the end of the of this report, quote unquote, all right, air quotes, um, there's also the link to the free mind resourcefulness course where you can go deeper on the results of this report, and
Yeah.
you have a workbook, and you can actually work on stuff already, all for free, because again, I want you to get the most out of your resourcefulness. I want you to be well. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's in that course, and it's funny that you say arise. If this arises for you, use that word. There's no
Yeah.
coincidence. So if you see here, in that course, you're going to see what's behind the mind canvas model. There's the
Yeah.
ABC of life model. There's
Yes.
also, oh, wait, here it is, the mind canvas model, and also the arise process, a 5-step
Ah,
process.
nice.
Yeah, and I teach that all in the free course. It's all for free. Okay, a
Yeah.
5-step process to basically change any thought, any mental pattern, or any self-limiting um, belief or feeling, emotion that you experience on a daily, weekly basis that you don't like anymore. Fear, sadness, anxiety, stress, uh, you name it, anger, frustration, anything that doesn't serve you anymore, whether it's a thought,
Yes.
negativity, right? Pessimism, trying to be liked, you name it.
Yeah.
5 steps to transform that part of your mindset. And
Yeah.
it's all right there
I
in the course.
I love that you even said that
Mm.
it doesn't serve you anymore, because
That's what it is.
oftentimes some of these things, including anger, can serve you
Oh, yeah.
at one point in time, and then once you realize it's not serving you anymore, then you can take that opportunity to transform it to something else. So speaking of transforming, what are you transforming for yourself at right now and this year? What does that look like for you?
Beautiful question, my friend.
Yeah.
Beautiful question. Because at the end, if I cannot be honest and vulnerable, right, and show that I'm also walking the talk, what are we doing
Yeah.
here?
Yes.
So generosity, like we said, is a big one. That's one that
Yes.
is new in this year. Okay. Uh, Authenticity has been already for a year and a half, almost two. That's a promise I made, that this is going to be the decade of authenticity for me. Meaning, I thought I was authentic, and for many people, I was. However, because of these assessments, because of the work that I do, you every year become aware of blind spots. Okay, in my own personal development, mastery, leadership, well-being, and one of those is that this limiting subconscious belief of not being good enough was driving so much of my behavior. You have no idea. No idea. And even though I thought I was great, confident, and all this stuff, I kept for years, since I was a kid, receiving this feedback about the impact I was having on people with my actions and reactions. I was almost like putting myself above others and making them smaller. I would deny that feedback. I never took it. But for years and for years, and it went out here and out of the other ear. Just, I was
Yeah.
not listening to it
Yeah.
until there's a saying in one of the companies I worked for. They say that if someone tells you you're a horse, don't listen to them. If a second person comes and tells you you're a whore, sorry, not whore, horse, um, you might want to listen to them. If a third person comes and tells you you're a horse, go to the horse store and buy a saddle. You're a freaking horse. Okay.
Right.
um, and then I chose to listen to that because the emotional reactions I was getting over and over from some people, some colleagues, was
Yeah.
like too much. Like, it cannot be that I'm not doing something. I need to take responsibility on something.
Yeah.
So just be me, not trying to appear more, to just be completely me. Humility, right? Also was also right there at the same time. And in the trainings, every time I have a training on leadership and communication, every month,
Mhm.
I ask people at the end of a training, guys, I'm working on something. From 1 to 10, how humble do you think I am? 8, 9, great, thank you. And I need to keep that at bay, that part of my ego at bay, right?
Yeah.
From 1 to 10, guys, what about generosity? I start asking this as well right now. And but I'm doing more pro bono work, for example, and things like that.
Yeah.
And the moment before I offer it, it's like, oh my God, these fears try to, say, no, don't do it. Come on, your time. And then I said, my consciousness kicks in and says, no, my fear is not going to dominate me. I'm going to do what I know it's right. And I'm going to be the kind of human being I want to be and the world deserves and needs. And then I do this stuff. And the moment I make the conscious choice, the fear gets released and I start enjoying the whole process of giving. It's unbelievable. So that would be my answer, my friend.
Wow. That's great. I do want to say one thing because it's interesting that you mentioned about humility, and I've had people share with me before that they think I'm arrogant. And I remembered thinking, I I don't think I'm arrogant, but maybe it's there. Maybe I'm a horse. All right, maybe I need to get a saddle. And so I took that on. And one of the things that I think, for those of you guys that are listening, sometimes we think we have to stop everything and we need to go address that. One of the things I did in this area, when I'm speaking with someone, sometimes I will apologize and go, look, what I say may be a little arrogant. My apologies. And then go ahead and speak to them. And just trying to be mindful of my communication, being mindful that may be coming across. Is that my intent? Well, no, that's not my intent. But putting it out there while I'm also working on transforming this, looking for opportunities for it to show up. Someone says, "Oh, that
Exactly.
you weren't arrogant there," or it's amazing just the moment you start addressing something, how it starts to transform,
Yes.
as opposed to thinking you need to stop everything, because that's not really how that works, right?
As opposed
You
to
can't just stop your life.
thinking that you have to stop everything, like you say, or that
Yeah.
you need to do nothing and because you're
Yes.
perfect. So, for
Yeah.
example, for me, very interesting topic about arrogance, right? Which
Yeah.
was a huge blind spot of mine.
Yeah.
Um, I kept saying no, no, no when people were saying that I was being arrogant.
Yeah.
And then one day I realized something. Can I define arrogance? I didn't know the definition. So how can I say that I'm not?
Right.
I went and Googled it. I'm not going to put you on the spot and test if you know what arrogance really means, but just in case, I don't want to put you on the spot. But that's what happened with
That's
me.
great.
I went on Google and I looked at the definition. I said, damn, it's me.
Yeah.
This is me 50% of the time when I'm working.
Yeah.
God damn it. Right. So that's when I said, I need to do something about this. Okay.
Yeah.
So when people tell you feedback, sometimes is not real. It's just based on their own fears and their own inabilities to deal with your personality or something. But
Yeah.
half of the time, probabilistically, half of the time, they're right.
Yeah.
Especially if you hear
And
it 2 3 times.
what's interesting, just we're wrapping up here, even
Yeah.
this idea of arrogance, there are times when, uh, rather than apologizing for it, I will actually acknowledge it. Someone might say, "Well, that's really arrogant," and I'll say, "Yes, I'm sure it may be coming off that way." Because the other side of it is you don't know what their definition of
Yeah,
arrogance is either. And so
exactly.
sometimes it's worth going down that road and finding out. For most people, their idea of arrogance is you're really sure of yourself, like you think you're not wrong, and that you can't be the opposite, or be humble about it. And when in reality, you might just be confident about something that you know. And
That's
but
true.
anyways, I don't want to, I want to make sure that we get as we close off, I give you the final word. Any final words that you want to pass on? That we're going to put the links for your assessment in the notes here. If people want to get a hold of you, how do they do that? What's the best
Brilliant.
place to get you?
So the social media that I use the most, almost like 90% of my social media is LinkedIn, because I'm a
Okay.
professional in a professional network. But in the links that we're going to share in the description somewhere of this show is I'm going to put my link tree. So for those who don't know what a link tree is a link to a page that includes all of my links.
Love it.
So right there you have all my social media that you can follow there. You can find my website, testimonials. You can find all the links to the free stuff we discussed today, and some other things as well. So you one link to get access to everything. But I think it's also valuable for those who are who don't have time. They're busy, right? So maybe we add a couple more links besides Linktree, directly talking about the assessment and the free download for the book.
Love it. Love it. Well, guys, I hope that you've gotten a lot of value from Juan, as it's really who he is and what he wants to pass on. And I think that there's, I'm going to be doing the free assessment tool, and you never know what you might get out of it. So, Juan, I just want to say thank you for coming on the show, sharing with us your wisdom, your journey, and what you're continuing, that road you're continuing to journey on, that we call transformation and being a transformational coach. So thanks a lot for coming on the show.
I really appreciate you, man. It was a fantastic session, and you're a good host, my friend.
Thank you very much. All right, guys, that's another week of the Leadership to Wealth podcast. We'll see you again next week.